Hey, it's Dr. Amanda with StraightSmile Solutions, StraightSmileSolutions.com, and today we're going to talk a little bit more about bonded retainers. And no, we're not going to talk about why you place them, indications for placing them, how to place them, how to write the lab slip, which design you should pick, etc., techniques, paperwork. Nope, none of that, because I already done all that. If you want to watch any of those, you can go to my YouTube channel, not YouTube in general, but mine, which is StraightSmile Solutions. That means you go to your YouTube channel, youtube.com. Type in the search bar, StraightSmile Solutions. You should see a green banner. And from there, there's a tiny magnifying glass where you can put in a keyword like bonded retainer or permanent retainer. It's towards the top right, or even easier, scroll down on my homepage on YouTube, StraightSmile Solutions, and you're gonna see playlists. There's about, 10 or 12 playlists. And towards the middle to the bottom, you're gonna see one that says retention. Within the retention one, I've got hours upon hours of content about bonded retainers, everything you want to know. But specifically, I realized I was missing one important part of it because it came up in a message board that I was in, which was, what if my patient asked me to take off a bonded retainer? Next steps, paperwork, consent forms, etc., what's my risk, what's my liability? So this was my answer to that question. First of all, first question would be, who did the ortho? Okay, if it was you, totally different story than if it was someone else. If it was someone else and the patient is local and their orthodontist is nearby or within driving distance, I would send that patient back to their ortho. Why? Because as soon as you remove that bonded retainer, you're now married to that case and all the ortho complications that come with it. Okay, because that was the solution for the retention. You don't know what type of warranties came with that, what's included. If there's relapse and you took that retainer off, you're now liable for it. Even if you have you have to have some pretty robust paperwork. I'm not saying you couldn't create that, but it still might give you a major headache if it made its way to either insurance company or the dental board or to court, So I just say proceed cautiously. Now, first of all, I'll tell you my personal story. I always have stories. So when I was in college, of course, this is back in the early 90s, 80s? No, early 90s. I had braces and they were taken off and my orthodontist put in a bonded retainer, which by the way was very ugly. But in any case, it was one of those ones that was anchored by bands. It was so ugly. It made it look like I had stainless steel crowns. It was not gonna fly for me in college. So I was like, after like 6 months to a year, I was like, get this stupid thing off. And I was over 18, so my parents got no say. And I didn't even ask. I was like, do I need a retainer? And I don't even know who I went to take it off. I just remember wanting the darn thing off. And I didn't start with lower crowding. So I think I remember the orthodontist saying, well, you probably be fine because you didn't start with lower crowding. Well, he was wrong. So, it did relapse. And it wasn't explained to me that even if you didn't start with crowding, you can still relapse because teeth have an inclination to always move mesial. A lot of people blame it on the wisdom teeth, but I had no lower wisdom teeth and they still bunched up, even though I didn't start with that. That's just how teeth move. Over time, as you age, unless you have a retainer, they will bunch up, okay? So they'll just bunch in towards the midline. So that's exactly what happened. And I think in hindsight, had someone explained that to me, and I don't remember if I signed anything or I didn't. And certainly think we weren't litigious back in the 80s and 90s. So it's just what it was. But anyways, teeth will move. Okay. So I never, ever, ever take one off unless I'm placing a removable retainer afterwards. Okay. That's just nope, go find someone else to do it. Okay. And if it's my patient, the first question is, first of all, I don't place bonded retainers on patients unless there's an indication to do it. If a patient demands, and there's a few indications, and I'm not going to go through that because you can get all those indications in the other videos that I referred you to. No sense in beating a dead horse. So it's a very rare occasion when I use a bonded retainer. It's fine if you like using them, but my problem with using them all the time that you'll get from my videos is a lot of people hate them. So now for me, they're always an upgrade fee. Like well, if not indicated, they're an upgrade fee. So your case comes with a set of retainers, okay? You may need more than one set in a lifetime. Certain types of retainers have different types of lifespans. Of course, you're going to explain what the warranty is, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, whatever. This should all be built into your paperwork, and each doctor's going to have a different plan. If you do not explain the warranty behind it, if there's no answer, then you're pretty much replacing it for free. So just remember that. You need to explain these things. For bonded retainers, for the most part, unless indicated, they are an upgrade fee and upcharge. Because they're extra work for me, they're extra cost for me, and I'm married to that case. Once I put it on, I have to check it, I got to babysit it and all that. There's a warranty for X amount of time, however you want to do it, 30 days, 90 days, 1 year. After that, there's a cost of X, Y, and Z to repair one if nothing has moved, and a cost of X, Y, and Z, you need to spell it out, to replace one, assuming nothing has moved. Two different things, repair and replace. For the most part, unless it's a phase 1, which is a temporary bonded retainer, I send out for my bonded retainers. I have them professionally made bent because I don't like to bend wire, and if you don't do it right, it will move teeth, and it's going to be a nightmare, and most general dentists I know don't do it right. So better to send off and pay the lab fee and have it done made properly. And again, go back to my other videos that I mentioned to learn more about design, lab slips, fabrication, indications, all that. But anyways, go back to the scenario at hand, which is, what if a patient asks you to take it off? So again, first question is, who did the ortho, right? If it's me and I placed it and it was indicated, or the patient paid the upgrade fee and it's within the warranty period, okay, I'll take it off, if there's a reason for it, and I'll replace it with a removable retainer at no charge, whatever one I think is best. Remember, clear retainers, you need many more than one in a lifetime. So if you're taking something that's permanent and could last for decades and replacing it with something that's more temporary and only lasts for 6 to 12 months and has to be replaced regularly in order to keep the teeth straight, then you need to let the patient know that, both verbally and in writing. It's part of the risks, benefits, and alternatives. That, this is a compliance-based thing. If you don't wear it, teeth will move. We're not responsible for the relapse. You're going to need more than one of these in a lifetime. The replacement cost is X if nothing has moved. It's Y if things have moved and you need retreatment, et cetera, et cetera. You need to spell everything out. What you don't want to do is take this darn thing off, even if they signed to take it off, and replace it with nothing, because I wouldn't touch it in that case, unless there was trauma or something like that. That's a different story. Then it has to come off. It's a medical necessity. But otherwise, if the patient's just asking to get it off, I'm only going to do it if I'm going to replace it with a removable retainer, and I'm going to spell out how many of these they might need in a lifetime and what the fees are going to be. If you do not do that and that retainer is faulty, doesn't work well, things move, not made right, or wears out and you didn't explain that it could, then potentially the patient could come after you later, which is why I want you to be very, very, very cautious about doing this. So that's pretty much all I have to say, is that, and someone asked me if I had a standard form for removing one of these, and that would be a no, because it's a very particular situation each time, and I'm just gonna type it up. So, what is my fee? Well, again, it depends on if I did the ortho, and or if I placed the bonded retainer, and or if I placed it, how long it's been on. So it's gonna vary. Let's say it was a patient I didn't do the ortho. They're demanding to get it out, and they're willing to get a removable retainer. Well, again, I'm gonna let them know that they're gonna need more than one in a lifetime. My fee for the removable retainer is probably going to be 2 times the lab fee for my time, at least 2, if not 3 times the lab fee, and a cost. Obviously, you're going to want to take records before you take this out. Always, always, always take records. And then take records of the retainer once it fits. So there's a fee for records, there's a fee for removal, there's a fee for a new retainer. So if it wasn't my patient and I was doing a retainer, somewhere between $800 and $1,000 would be my fee for this process. And a lot of people are going to get upset. They can find someone cheaper to do it, but there's a lot of liability, like I said, that comes with this. So I'm not doing it for free or for cheap. If it was my patient, there could be no charge if it was in a certain time span, and especially if it was clinically indicated, there might be a minor charge. If it was within a year, if it was more than a year, it's going to be less than it was if it wasn't my patient. So again, it could be free, it could be $200, it could be $400, it could be $800, it could be $1,000. So particular situation. It also depends on how it's anchored too. If it's something like this, where there's glue on each tooth, it's gonna take me a lot longer than if it's just 2 mesh pads on the end. That's gonna take me like 2 minutes to pop off. So I'm gonna have to look at it and see how much work it is to take it off, clean it off, smooth it, records, And then it's not accurate if you scan, you want to have a retainer ready to deliver as soon as it comes off. You don't know how quick things are going to relapse. So, because if there's any movement between when you take that off and when you deliver, you're responsible for that movement. Now, labs can digitally have this removed, and deliver a retainer, but it's not going to be as good of a fit as if you made another one. So normally I'm going to make 2 sets of retainers. I'm going to make a temporary in-house retainer, which could be a slightly sloppy retainer. It's not going to be perfect. That's going to be delivered chair side, so I could take an impression or a scan before I take it off, and it might have the bumps back there, right? But at least they have something to keep it somewhat straight. And then after it's all cleaned up and the hygiene's good and they've been scaled and everything like that, and the gums swelling has gone down, then I'm going to scan and deliver the new retainer. All of this is going to be included in that price. I'm not going to make shortcuts with this. Either you do it my way or you don't do it at all, because I know I'm going to be responsible when things happen, and things will happen. Now, like I said, you give that kind of price, especially if it wasn't your patient, $800 to $1,000, a lot of people are going to go find someone else to do it. And that's totally fine with me. Because again, this is one of these procedures, if you don't do things right, things are going to go haywire and crazy. So anyways, don't mean to scare you, but just proceed cautiously. This seems like a simple thing, but it can get very complicated. All right, hopefully that was helpful. Thanks.